Salima, everyone. Hello. Happy January 15th, it looks like. So, welcome to January if you're just joining us. Today, we have a very special guest, Latonya Daniels. She's going to be spilling all of her deepest, darkest secrets, telling us about the mysteries of the universe and solving all of our problems all within the next couple of hours. If you're new here, if you're into this type of thing, definitely subscribe. If you could hit the like button, that actually helps us out quite a lot. It helps us be recommended to other people. I thank you guys. So the reason I was a little late getting onto the stream on the back end in the studio today was because I got the Twitter live stream set up. I think it's streaming on Twitter. Let's hope. So thank you to Lorna, the Merry Mystic, who gave me some good advice for getting back onto Twitter, or it's X now. Oh, I'm so sorry. Elon, don't sanction me or do whatever you do. Yes. So that's pretty exciting. We talked about that on the meditation support group call, which is every Sunday from 11 a.m. Eastern to what time do we normally go to? 1 p.m., I believe. And you can join us for that. We do talk about meditation when applicable, and we also talk about all kinds of other stuff ranging from, I don't know, you guys. If you can imagine it, we've probably talked about it, but that's totally free. Yeah. You can sign up for that on my website. There's a link right on the homepage, SumerianAstrology.com. While you're there, you can learn ancient astrology. You can also learn the Sumerian language. I'm trying not to cough right now. I'm still recovering from my cold, but I'm definitely well into progress. So before we go too far into things here and talk to Latonya, if Friar and Nikki want to give us a quick rundown of what you do and where people can find you.
Oh, yeah, I'll go first. I'm Nikki. I'm with Revolution Astrology. I am obviously an astrologer. I do witchy things. I do lots of cool research stuff. I mean, stuff that I think is cool. Anyway, I do natal chart readings. You can find my information down below. Just send me an email. That's how we start. We just talk to me. Just send me an email. Let me know what you want, what you're looking for, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Friar?
Yes. Hello. I'm Friar Pezzle. You can reach me at friarpezzle.wordpress.com, where you can read my blog. It's got a lot of words on it and sometimes pictures. And you can also find my services there. And for viewers of the show, we are now taking discount code UTU25 for 25% off my services. Very exciting. Sheriff Utu is in town. He's got to wrangle Neptune now. What's going on? But yeah, look. You can email me too. You can email me at friarpezzle@gmail.com. That's right. Now for the weather.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, is Latonya, did she go somewhere? She's gone.
She's gone now.
She's definitely gone. Okay. Well, Nikki, why don't you tell us how Neptune has been ruining your life?
Well, actually, that's so funny. Well, I'm actually living in a Neptune square Neptune, which happens to be on the nodes right now. So it's squaring my actual nodes. There she is. So yeah, it's
I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, I thought.
No worries at all. So Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
God. So I have Neptune on my south node, and Neptune squaring my Neptune and my nodes, and it's like a crunch time. It's a bit of a like being held underwater against your will. It's about surrender, really. I mean, because you have no other fucking choice, really, when it comes to these Neptune processes. And Fry and I are actually talking about somebody else who is having a hard time with Neptune. And I don't hate Neptune. I don't have any problems. I'm dealing with Neptune pretty well, but this particular person is in fact not. And it was just funny because he was asking for it. and then that's the Neptune process, and you got it. Neptune is about, perfection and refinement. Where does agape come from? Where does all of this divine spiritual beauty come from? Well, it's perfect. It's perfect energy, and if that's what you're looking for, you're gonna have to say goodbye to a lot of things that you loved and start over. At least
Yeah.
I was telling Fryer, at least with Pluto, you're left with the rubble. With Neptune,
You get nothing.
you get, yeah, it fucking brings you down to your knees, man.
You get a clean slate.
You get a clean slate. Yes,
Yay.
pure, clean slate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that technically, this person is my employer. I guess I'm sort of contracting, and things are so exciting right now. And by exciting, I mean really bad. But that's okay. Either I'm going to have a lot more work ahead of me real soon, or I'm going to have no work from him at all. I don't know which way it's going to go. But things are changing. Things are changing because
they are.
Water Bee is in the house.
Was that Neptune? Is that the
Neptune.
water bitch thing
water
that
bitch.
you mentioned? Okay.
Water bitch is here.
Oh my God.
Hope you're thirsty.
Yeah.
Well,
that was what we were talking about. I was like, oh my God, I know all about Neptune processes. This person's having one. Oh, they asked for it. Oh. That's why I had to laugh. I was like,
well, we get what we need when we need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this person needs it. It's like, oh wow, this is funny. It's coming right as Venus is approaching Saturn. There's like a lot going on. So to see everybody's lives kind of falling into place as the transits are going and happening, because we have like big players playing ball right now. It's just moving stuff around, and whether you like it or not. So yeah, we were just having that conversation this morning. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. Neptune.
Oof.
Lover and a fighter.
But mostly a fighter.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I know we had talked about in the January 1st call that we did, we looked at the upcoming year. We're coming up into one of those windows of crazy for the next couple of weeks. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Latonya.
Sorry. Yeah.
How would you feel about telling us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and also kind of how you got on this path, which I think is a lot more helpful to people than anybody realizes, like hearing how other people came to the place that they're at.
Yes, it is. Well, like she said, my name is Latonya Daniels. I don't know what to classify myself as, but if I had to have a title, I always call myself just an intuitive, because there's so many different parts to it. I don't even know what to, and they keep showing up. The gifts just keep showing up. Anyway, I do psychopump work, and I am psychic, but I mostly deal with healing. I like to deal with the healing, helping people heal, because I feel like when I do readings and sessions with people, one of the main concerns I hear about is love and money, and I hear a lot about it. And I grew up pretty hard, financially and physically. Like, I had a lot of abuse and neglect in different places, so that made me want to help people even more, with the gifts that I do have. So that's pretty much it. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I remember people bringing me into a room when folks were sick, or they would call for me, and all the other kids want to know, why does she get to go into the room? Nobody else gets to go in there. We don't get to go. They didn't know that they would bring me in a room. I didn't really have to do anything. I could just be there, or just put my hand on the person. Either they would go ahead and transition, or they would get up. And I knew that wasn't normal, but they never talked about it. I think the adults around me were afraid, because I pretty much told the truth. I'm like a mirror to people, and the same thing they like me for, if they're not in alignment, is the same thing they hate me for. So, because it's going to show them. And so I went on to get married, get in a series of bad decisions, and I think it all worked toward to where we are now. But I do want to bring out this point because I mean, we're all different in here. Everybody's what people think is weird, so I don't think is weird. Um, One of the main things that I remember as being a child is one of my earliest memories was a bad memory. And I know how trauma can get people stuck in a certain stage in life, and it'll cause you not to go back and nurture that person that you were then. And I think we leave that inner child behind, and when somebody takes your innocence away. And once you do that, you don't know, like you're always in fight or flight mode. And then you tend to attract these same type of people that took your innocence away. And I just got tired of running to the same demon in a different body, like the same thing over and over and over. And as I got older, it would get worse and worse and worse. And finally, I figured out that it was a certain spirit. And these things liked me because of my light. They liked me because they didn't have any. So at first, I started trying to fix all of them until I realized it wasn't no fixing them and that it was draining me. So once I figured out like different things, I would always go back and try to give it to other people, like help them because they didn't know, and people don't talk about this, not even in church. I mean, I was a pastor for years. I never talked about a lot of the stuff, you know. And I had to put my ministry down, close it up. I went through this huge awakening. On another level, I literally left my body and I could see it. I could hear people around me. When I came back, I could tell them what they were saying, what they were doing while I was out. So financially, I went through this thing where I was making like so much money a day doing hair because I was a hairstylist since that's a lot of what I've done. And I made so much money doing that. And when it was time for me to let go of it, I didn't want to because of the finances.
Yeah, I
And
totally can relate to that. I was in the
yes, but
same boat.
every time I would go to work, I would be like literally doing what I do still in the chair. Like if people at the shampoo bowl, I know they're something's getting ready to happen to them. I felt like I was dressing people for burial sometimes because I would know what's getting ready to go on. I couldn't talk about it, and that's depressing when you give a damn. So it was just a lot. And then sick people that would come in didn't know that they had something,
Yeah, that is so hard. I had a client who was like, I knew you knew.
Mhm.
And she was
Yeah.
like, and I was like, yeah, I know. And it's cancer. And like, I didn't know where, but she
Mhm.
was like, it's really bad. And I was like, all right. But
Yeah.
like, how do you tell somebody that though?
If you've ever
Like, I'm
seen that
not going to be like, hey, guess what? I heard you're going to die like in 3 months.
right,
Like, what the fuck
right.
is that? Sorry, go
Right.
ahead.
So, and then there's trying to be tactful around people and keep your composure while also grieving the fact that this person probably won't be around. So you learn the difference between death and like losing a person in death, and you learn the real meaning for it and what's really going on. You do kind of miss them already, but yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot to it. Anyway, again, I don't know how to title myself. But that's what I do. It's like being in that movie Meet Joe Black. That's me. Yeah. So
I think intuitive is a perfect way to describe what
yeah,
you
yeah,
do,
yeah.
without, because it's so wide open. I mean, it's kind of like
It
oh
doesn't freak people
yeah.
out as bad because, like, if I tell them like your dead grandmother twice, like, is standing there next to you with a blue dress and, and her hair is in curlers and she's smoking a cigarette, then you know that might freak somebody out. But that's usually what I'm looking at while I'm standing there having a regular conversation with these people. So yeah. There is times though when it's really good when you can help little kids cross over or somebody's, and I don't know, let me know if I go too far with something, but
No, keep going.
Yeah, good
there
luck trying to go too far. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
like one of my biggest things were people who like were molested or sexually abused or whatever. I can always tell. I can look at
Yeah.
them and tell. I can, I can tell that they had me experience things so that I could see it. So I can see it, and then I'll see the trauma that's in the part, whatever trauma it dealt with and whatever with the little kid early. And that's one of the things that I like about it, because if you can help them early, then they don't have all these things, attachments still on them at 35, 40 years old, not knowing why their life is going crazy and their marriage is, if, going to hell, or they married the wrong
Yeah.
person. And it's so easy to get trauma, and then you end up having to pay for something somebody else did to you until you fix it.
Mhm.
But that's just how it is. And so teaching people how to fix it and then protect themselves from it is one of my passions. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked in the meditation call, and it was really awesome, because we talked a lot about like your astrology, your natal placements, and
Mhm.
you have that special Antares placement where people just come to you
They
and they just
do.
gravitate to you. So it
I
makes it
call
really
my
hard to
house
be like,
grandma's
I'm done
house.
with this. Yeah.
I call my house grandma's house. Everybody, like, people come in here and they feel safe. And then that's everywhere I go. It's like older people. It's always been like that. The problem is I didn't feel safe, because I was like, I'm looking out for everybody else, and who's gonna look out for me? And that's
Yeah.
why I'm so glad that we have places like this to come to as a community, because you feel so weird. And it's almost like you have to have this mask on to be somebody else, or be a lesser version of yourself around regular. Like, I hate to say regular people,
Yeah.
but y'all know what I mean.
No, I totally get
I
it.
don't mean it in a
Normies.
bad way.
Normies. It's okay. They know.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
know.
Yeah, the normies. I like that, Abby.
Yeah, I think normies is
That's a
nice.
good one.
No.
Yeah, I used to call
Yes.
them mundanes, but I had to stop
Well,
them.
that sounds super boring. The lamos.
Mundanes. Yeah,
Yes.
I had to
The
find a
not
nicer
fun
way to say
people.
it.
Yes.
Because
No,
the
those.
reason I used to call them that is because, like, I don't care what type of evidence I would have. It could be just plain out. You could not explain it away, and they would be like, "Oh, okay." And then when it finally happens and it hit them, they'll like call me. Oh my God, you remember when you told me that? And I'm sitting there on the phone like, Well, it just happened. Okay. I I mean, I'm sorry that you're surprised, but I
Yeah.
told you this 3 years. I told you this 3 years ago, and I got 10 minutes to talk to you about it every like maybe
Right.
5, because I already told you. Yeah, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of things happen to people that I care about because they didn't catch on soon enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's frustrating. When you tell someone, like, look, dude, I'm psychic. You need to,
I
like,
say it
take
like
the
this:
hint.
if I get paid to talk to people by the minute and tell them the stuff that I was telling those other people for free, and if they didn't take it, that's just them. That's just on them. I don't feel responsible because I did my job.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm like this: if somebody who gets paid to do a certain thing is giving it to me for free, I'm gonna listen, because it costs them some energy to do that.
Yes.
So just out of respect for that person, at least listen.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Might
agree.
save your life. Might save your life.
So
Especially when it's talking about cord cutting and different people. Like, I hear people say all the time, well, I haven't dealt with that person in 15 years. Well, I'm telling you, there's a big cord with their face on it right there sitting next to you. And that's why your finances are shot. But they're over there balling out of control and posting it on Facebook. And it never fails when they finally go ahead and get a cord cutting session done with me. Sometimes while we're in the middle of it, the person that we're cutting away will call the phone.
stop. Oh my God.
Literally.
Stop.
I've had several stories,
People
y'all.
feel it. People know. When
They
you
know.
have that type of energetic or karmic, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, connection to someone,
Yep.
they feel it immediately.
They know.
If I had to say, so I get asked this question a lot. Now, I don't do psychic readings anymore. I still do intuitive coaching, but it's, not really my thing. I'm, astrology, that's my thing. But I dealt a lot with karmic relationships or twin flames, soulmates, and a lot of these relationships come with weird baggage that doesn't make a lot of sense. And if I had to summarize, it's a lot of girlfriend calling me or ex-girlfriend, when is my ex-man going to contact me again? Seems to be a theme. So women, because we're kind of designed to just think about everything and problem solve the like nitpickiest stuff and just, you know, need everything. We have to take care of everything all the time. We're less likely to intuitively listen to and feel those types of pulls, but men of the male persuasion out there, because they don't operate the same way. They're more in the moment. They're more, you know, fixed on whatever is in front of them, whatever problems they're solving or whatever work they're doing, games they're playing, who knows. But when that happens, when somebody creates a shift in that energy, they feel it right away. They know.
Yeah.
So even
especially when there's a gifted woman, like a divine feminine person, like goddess energy. And that's why we have more trouble with it than just regular people. Like they want to go play and they want to go do their own thing, but they still need us for the energy. The sad part is when they go out there and dabble with these other people, men are transmitters and women are receivers. So they receive all this crazy stuff from these other people, and then they want to bring it back over there and release it to you, and then your finances going crazy, your mind is going crazy, your hormones are off balance, and you breaking out in the face because of this shit. So
yep,
because the pattern repeats, because they just keep repeating the same patterns over and over again.
So you're right about that, Abby. I mean, whoa.
Yes, and that's why it doesn't necessarily cut the cord, but it can definitely shift the momentum in the relationship. So sometimes when I've looked at it either psychically or astrologically, it does show up like this person's going to come back. Whether or not things are normal again remains to be seen, right? But you can, at least I've been able to psychically predict whether or not somebody's going to get a hold of someone, and usually a timeline. Timelines were one of my specialties, weird enough.
Oh, yeah.
So, but one of the things I tell people, and it works every time, is when you shift your energy and your focus, instead of thinking about him and what he's got going on, who's he talking to, who's he seeing, you're doing all your, you know, your Facebook stalking him and doing all that. If you just stop and you put all of your love and attention suddenly onto you, that person feels it. If there's really a connection there, that person's going to immediately feel it. And I've also had people within hours, sometimes minutes of making that shift, really making it, not just pretending, right? Like we're just, oh no, I'm done with you. Like a real energetic change. That person instantly knows, and they panic and they reach out. Now, if you're dealing with a narcissist or somebody who's just got tons of baggage, you don't necessarily want that person to get a hold of you. And so now you got a problem of like, I'm happy and this person's trying to get back into my life. So it's a whole big thing, as I'm sure you know.
Yep, you look like a thick, juicy steak to them when you start glowing again.
Yes,
once they see you, like, because these people are parasitic in nature, and they're the vampires, they're the werewolves, and not the good ones. Because I'm not gonna say all of them are. Some of them have evolved, and they've noticed that they're, Eddie Monster. But so now they know how to, conduct themselves and get them some fake energy from somewhere else a little bit to keep them over. But they love us. They love people who are caring. They always got a problem for you to come and fix. I don't care. There's never a good day. There's always something going on. And some of these people, unfortunately, it's not that they were horrible folks. It's just that they stayed too long with one of the people that, like, with a vampire, or they stayed too long with a narcissist. And when these people are coming out of these situations, they have to get purged of that venom that made them that other person like that, or else it'll turn them like a vampire. It'll turn them. They'll ended up being just like the person that they're trying to leave, or that they've just left. I went through years of recovery from that. Like, it was so ugly to me. I couldn't stand to look at myself, and I was like, why am I doing this? This is not me, but it was that person's energy on me, and I had to get rid of it. And this was a parent at first, and then it was a husband, 2 of them actually. And so once I got myself cleared, honey, I'm just telling you, I stay in my room a lot. I don't have a man, and it's like, woo, it's blissful. I mean, oh God, y'all.
I know it
I'm
makes your
almost
nervous
scared. I'm
system
scared to
go
date
like,
because, yeah, I'm scared to date because I don't trust my picker.
yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and I can't help other people get healed from things or whatever if I'm over here in the worst condition than they are.
Well, the most unhealed people are out there trying to get laid right now. Like,
And
don't
carrying
fucking go
crotch
out there
rot.
and
Let's
try.
not
Like,
forget that. Spiritual
yeah,
STDs and natural
all of
ones.
that. Like, no, God, I'm not interested.
And
Thanks.
it's like all of this is just so much stuff, man. But yeah, Reiki is another thing that we I have a friend that, we work together sometimes, and she's a massage therapist, and we both do Reiki, energy healing, and she does reflexology. It is amazing to me the things that you can unlock inside of a person and help them to get free, and then they're totally different because you pulled out the root of that thing from that person. But again, I always tell people, please be mindful. This is not for entertainment purposes. If you don't plan on staying away from this person, please do not get them cut back, cut away, plucked up, none of that, because when they come back, it's going to be way worse if you let them in. I had a situation. Hold on, y'all. Let me close my door.
No worries.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, tell me more. I love these. Like, I love the love stories. Like, people are like, I just need him back, and like, you find out
Yes.
he's like the worst motherfucker in the
Well,
world, and you're
yeah,
like,
and I
do
had to
you
tell
really?
this lady, like, listen, y'all don't understand. People, what's normal, people don't even realize they're doing magic. I had this one person who insisted on, I had to close the door because there's kids in there. But
No worries.
yeah, some of these people, you don't have to be like physically having sex with them. Let me tell you what kind of sex magic they do, and especially water sign males. um they do a lot of sex magic without us even knowing it. A person can be obsessed with you and you not even know their name. They can be masturbating to you and all types of crazy stuff, and you'll be like, why do I feel this way, or wake up feeling strange and different crazy stuff. I had one to come and tell me later on that that's what he had been doing, and I was wondering why this food kept crossing my mind because I didn't even like him and it was disgusting to me. I almost ran a couple of times. I was like, why does buzzard keep coming over here in my energy? And it's like, why
I
is
don't
he
mean to
here?
laugh.
So later on, he came and told me, I do this and I do that. He told me. I was like, wow. And then you're gonna tell me you did it, like I'm supposed to be impressed. And now you're sending dick pics and stuff. It was all I could do, y'all, not to do. Like, I don't know. They call me a witch. I do witchy things. It was all I could do not to print that dick pic off and do some witchy shit. Because why are you in my energy, sir? And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, at least look good in gray sweatpants if you're going to be over here intruding on me. Don't be over here, with Pinocchio's nose. I was mad, y'all.
Yeah, I got mad too. I got off of Facebook. I was like, I'm done with Facebook.
Girl.
I don't need any more special messages from anybody who thinks they're special. Like, and
I had one
you're
that
not.
got married, and he was the narc that I got rid of. He was trying to send me message requests on the day that he married somebody else. They don't ever stop. They don't stop. They'll be sending you crazy stuff and laying up right next to a girl.
Friar, you're awfully quiet over there.
Yeah,
Well,
poor
I just-
Friar.
Yeah,
He's
he was
like,
there.
oh my
You know,
God.
Sorry.
It's okay. Look, I'm really sorry I sent you those pictures. It was wrong. And I acknowledge that.
Okay.
Stop.
I didn't do anything crazy with him. But
Not
yeah,
yet. Not
I've
yet.
heard quite, like, y'all. I see stuff now. I think one of the most horrible cases I think I did though was this young lady. This was not too long ago actually. Y'all don't know her, so I can tell the story. I did a foot wash for her, and I had been seeing things. I met her and her husband before. I saw what he was when I met him, but I was extremely nice to him because you cannot go in at these situations and tell people what you see, because people have to go home with these nutcases, and if you try to defend them out in public when they go home, it's gonna be hell to pay for that person. So I didn't say a thing. I didn't say anything because I didn't know how open she was to it. And then finally, she asked me for a session, and that was it. It's like, okay, I only got one shot. I got to get it in. So I fasted and I went ahead and listened to the correct way to do it. Before then, I sent her a video on classic narcissism just to send it to her. And she was like, oh, wow. Because I don't think she realized that she was married to a person. And I think he's really not really narcissistic. I think he's a sociopath, but I'm going to leave that alone. So I told her, I said, when I cut this away, because she had had abortion and like things like that happen. So, if you're carrying a spirit baby around, if you didn't name that child, acknowledge him or release him, sometimes that can be heavy around you too. So that's what we were really supposed to be working on. But he kept coming up in her energy, just kept coming up. So I finally went ahead and blasted him. I said, listen, babe, one of the cords that you're having to cut, that's a karmic cord, is in fact the husband that you have right now. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I do know he's going to nut up. He's going to act crazy. I advise you to not fight back. I don't think you should respond. I think you should get away from him as quickly as possible and keep yourself safe. Within 12 hours, like 12 to 16 hours, he had taken a 2x4, totaled her car out in the garage. I told her, I said, I see him tearing up some stuff. And he did exactly that, and it was caught on camera. It was caught on camera. He tore up her nice 4-bedroom house from start to finish. I think he even did some shit to the pool outside.
Oh
But
my
she was
God.
safe. But he totaled her car out. This is how strong these people siphon you for a long period of time. You'll notice that all of your dreams and goals have now turned into everything about them. You can be talented. You'll notice that everything is about them. They use your energy. And as long as you're having sex with them, it's really crazy. And once that cord got cut, because she meant what she said, she has not been back. He showed his ass. He made it so she didn't have no other choice. And I think that's the divine's way of helping us sometimes. They know you're loyal and you're loving and you're afraid to move. So sometimes situations happen, you don't have any other choice. And so but I'm glad that type of thing, I hate that happened to her, but I am glad that it happened to get her free from him, because if that's what it took, we can get more stuff. Just can't get another you, especially when you got kids and you don't want to
Right.
be unalived by some lunatic and there's a
Yeah.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's heavy. That's heavy, and a lot of people don't take it seriously.
right. So when I get ready to give up or get mad at people and want to stop and get tired of hearing about the person that's always talking about a man that don't want them and all this type of stuff, I think about that one or two people that literally I might have saved a life by saying, look, don't respond, just back up. This is going to happen. At least you know what's up. And so, yeah, and that was hard to tell a person, that was hard, but I did it. And so he started threatening me and everything. I think he knew. He's put on Facebook that, oh, this lady reading minds, she's of the devil, she's a witch. But
Oh
yeah,
Christ,
I'm
yeah.
evil, but you just totaled
Yeah.
out your wife's car and left glass from the windows in your son's car seat. Like, really? I'm the
Yeah.
devil? I'll be the devil.
Right.
I
Yep.
help
Some people are just
anybody I
silly
can.
though.
And
They
I've
lack
had,
accountability. That's what
right.
it
And
is.
I've
Like
had men to
nobody's
go through the
accountable for
same
their
thing.
actions anymore.
Yeah,
So,
I've had men to go through the same thing too. It's not just women, it's men too. I know men that are linked to somebody, they cannot explain why they're even with this person and they don't know why and they can't get rid of them. And even when they go on to be with somebody else, here comes this crazy person. So it's very
Yes.
important to mind who you connect energies with.
yeah,
And
yeah. And
yeah, and to
it's
keep
a
your
hookup.
clearing done, because you don't know what perv is out there having sex with you and you don't know it.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
got a rock star mentality. So if I thought somebody was out there fucking just to me, I'd be like, wow, I'm awesome. This is so cool. Like I'm a fucking rock
It's all
star.
fun and games until it
But
starts
until somebody
affecting your
tells you and
energy.
then you find out who it is. Well, actually yesterday I had there's this older guy who comes in and he's like, all right, he dropped off cupcakes. I can't eat cupcakes. So everybody lied to him. He's like, you got your cupcake. I'm like, what are you talking about? No. So he comes in, he brings me some banana chips and he's like, I just want you to know that I have a high school crush on you and it's
Oh
never
wow.
gonna work, but I'm going to keep bringing you stuff. And I was like,
Were
okay.
those cupcakes and banana chips of light? Because it sounds like they could
I
have
don't
been.
know. Well, the banana chips came in a container that was sealed. So
Okay, that's good.
Oh no.
Oh no. You know, my boss was like, shit
Chips
happens
of
like
light.
this all the time. I just eat them, okay? I just eat whatever they bring you. I was like, okay.
Oh no.
He meant well.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm like, oh my God, is Jerry doing that? Shit. Now you got me
Maybe.
thinking.
Well, are you thinking warm, fuzzy thoughts about Jerry, or is Jerry crossing your mind a lot?
No, never.
Oh my God.
Never crossed my mind until now. I'm like,
Well,
wait a
that's good.
minute. I think I have a fan. All right.
Oh,
Well,
man.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, please, because
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh about it, but this is
it's
interesting
something
stuff.
else. It is. You have to laugh to keep from crying about this
Yeah.
shit because it's not fair.
Well, it's a
It's
hookup
like, if you're
culture
gonna be
out
doing
there.
that, honey, hit my Cash App or my Zelle or something. At least give me something out of it. Send a little offering here or there.
I don't know. It's a crazy hookup culture, and I just don't understand it at all. Because I mean,
don't
I've
wanna
been
understand
out of the
it 'cause-
game
No.
forever. I look at it and I'm like, what the hell are all of you doing? They're just
But-
all being.
Yeah, and people who
I don't get it.
sucked into that they don't realize you give some of your energy away, like you're
and they're
like,
very fragmented in the end of it.
yes,
Yeah.
they're
I've
not
worked
whole
with some
people
ladies
anymore.
some ladies of the night, because I don't judge. I have worked with some of them, and we had some that had not been depressed, but one of them felt like she was schizophrenic. Well, it turns out that she was gifted, and her being with all these different folks were taking her in different dimensions. Like, she was very fragmented. So it's good to run into people that can do timeline work for like quantum healing, because you got to try to bring parts of yourself and put them back together and reunite. And that's going to take what you eat, how you move around, like all kinds of stuff is going into that. Like, you can't just heal one side of it. You got to do the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
and discipline is what keeps you when motivation fades with that type of thing, because you're going to have discipline, because they don't stop. They don't stop.
It's a lack of self-love too. They don't even think about it. It's this outside validation. I need something. And we're taught that for very young to always look outside of yourself
for attention,
for God's love, for attention.
Yeah.
And that's that type of stuff. So I mean, you get a lot of these people. I see them all the time that are just grasping for something, type
and
of.
I think it does
love.
sharpen us, though. It sharpens us in the sense where we see that type of thing, and that's what makes me work on myself so much when I see it outside of me, around me, and I'm like, oh God, that's so ugly, and it's so not fair. And not only that, like, even to your kids or to the person's family, you think about their children. Some of these people are literally jealous of their own kids. You got parents that don't like their own children. Nobody talks about that child that has family that you really can't go tell everything. Like, they have to think about the world backwards, because what most people can go to a parent for or an older sibling, they cannot, because they literally hate them. So not dealing with your own trauma can cause a lot of problems with your family or whatever. And then inviting other crazy ass people into your energy, and you already crazy. And then you gonna have a house full of kids and wonder why they lunatics.
Well, it's generational too.
Oh my God.
I mean, we do what we know. And
I have a karmic child. It is just, I love her because she's my child, but she's a constant reminder of what can happen when you reproduce with somebody with that type of energy. You feel like oh God, this child it's not even her fault. It is once you get to be an adult and you've been taught how to get rid of things, but it's just in some people. It's just in them. It's
parenting when I was a lot younger, I noticed I was doing the things that I hated my parents doing to me, like, not to the extreme, because I didn't have the greatest upbringing. I wasn't going to do that to my kids. But it was just like the words and the discipline, and it was like, no, this has to change. This isn't gonna, like, because I don't want to be that.
It still hurt, like, and most people who are empaths or light workers, we tend to, for some reason, incarnate in families that rub us like sandpaper. You might have one or two people in the family that's like you, and the rest of them are freaking lunatics.
Yeah.
And I am so like looking at people that got decent parents and they complain about their parents, and I'm looking at them like, man, you just have no idea how ungrateful you
Yeah.
are. I just don't say anything, but they're so ungrateful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard not having a relationship with your parents. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't really have a relationship with my mom, but we're still friendly. We're still like on good
Yeah,
terms.
they're
Like,
you can
but
be
it's
cordial with them once you heal a little
yeah.
bit, but you only
Well,
you expect what they've already given you. Is like you don't your expectations are not making you disappointed anymore. Like you,
yeah. Well, I was able to pull up our charts and pull up the
yeah.
sinistry and finally like look at it from a different perspective.
Hmm.
And all of it was there, and I was like, that makes so much fucking
Yep.
sense. So I was like,
Yep.
okay, like, and it helped me accept her for the way that she is.
And it also
Um,
helps you to go in and cure some of or help uproot some of that genetic and epigenetic trauma in the women in your family too. So that's a good thing to
yeah.
being born,
Oh
with that type
yeah.
of gift.
The women in my family have been told like to just be quiet. Like you just don't like they're gossipers behind the scenes, and like that's not okay. Like if you need to talk to somebody, you should talk to them. So they're not direct communicators.
Yeah.
But that was like, I don't know. I feel like it's just like that generation where they're like
And I always feel like
dynasty
gossiping
and
about people behind their
drama
backs.
and
Yeah, my
yeah,
aunts are the
yeah, the
world's
Pluto and
worst.
Leo generation.
They don't
Like
realize that
that's
that's a form of betrayal when you do that.
yeah, yeah. I'm a like I want to confront you right away. Let's talk about it right away.
Hmm.
And that's just not, heard of, in my
Yeah.
family. It's like, oh,
Sometimes, like in
you're
in the
too
time that
loud.
we're living in, it's not even safe to bring things up because people won't self-actualize. So it's just going to be an ego trip and just probably end
Yeah,
you up
Fryer and I
madder
were
and
just
ready to
talking
punch
about
somebody.
that. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. When you try to
Hmm.
bring up like something, like I have an issue with one of my children when I talk to her about like correcting her behavior or saying, "Hey, this isn't right." I mean, she's the perfect spin doctor. I mean, just has
Hmm.
oh, and it's like I
So
can
is her
see what you're
father is
doing.
her father your husband, like your ex-husband?
My ex, yeah,
That
yeah,
probably is what I was just talking about people being born with or contracting that type of thing, or having to like purge that part of them out, or at least get it to a point where you can manage it. Because some
yeah,
people, like, if you'll see it kind of cook up in you and you'll know it and you recognize it and you can just, you know, but yeah, having a child is like that, and then having to live in a house with that parent, it like to drove me crazy. Like I literally thought I was having a nervous breakdown. My body was shutting down.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's enough to
my
drive you
digestive
insane.
system was just shot living around people like that. Like, cause you're always on eggshells
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
overthink because you first of all they're irresponsible, so you overthink so because they don't think at all. And then when you do something right, then you got to protect yourself because you know they're gonna come and mess it up, and now they're mad because you made them look bad. You know,
Yeah, and heaven
there's
forbid
that.
you ever tell anybody the truth about what they said or did.
Yeah,
That never
because
happened.
you're
Never
supposed to
happened.
protect them even when they're stabbing you in the back.
Yeah. Oh, ouch. Yes.
Mhm.
Are we living like
Yeah,
the
Fryer.
same life here?
What does Fryer do? Because I don't ever hear.
Excellent question. Fryer, what do you do?
What do I do? I
I
run
like that
away from
background, by the
scary
way. That's
women. Thank you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Run
he's
away
at
from
Hogwarts. That's from
Yes,
he's in Hogwarts.
Okay,
yes,
send the magic school bus for me.
I
absolutely.
run away from scary women. There's a lot of scary women out there.
Well, we appreciate
Lots
the
of us.
masculine energy in here.
Yeah, we're all
Yes,
yeah.
I'm holding space. You see,
Yes,
yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
What
holding
what about?
space and sending pics.
Well, yes. I did notice you changed your number, so that's
Oh yeah,
you made it a lot
email address is
harder.
still the same.
But if the big 3-inch scares you, I
I
understand.
promise you, there's some people blocked on every platform, but like I block them everywhere, but on like Cash App. So this one guy, he knew he was blocked everywhere
Yeah.
else, and this sucker would
Perfect.
send me money and put like in the little in the reasons why, and then be like, "Please call me, please answer the phone." I'll be sitting up there cashing out, not even responding. Like, what did you say your name was? No, I'm going like I got my entire car payment paid one time like that. Like, let me go ahead and let him come back and try to hover. So yeah, that's the only thing he wasn't blocked on, and he figured it out.
That's a
Cash
good
out.
hustle.
That's really smart, actually. I don't have those problems. I wish I did.
Oh, girl, no, you don't. No, you don't.
No, I
had to
know.
move.
Yeah, you're
I've
right.
had to
I
move
don't.
several times.
I like
had to
my
move.
peace.
I had to leave the state a couple of times. It's
So
crazy.
you said that okay, you were born with this gift, and you were talking about how it's always evolving and changing. So talk about that some, because I've also experienced a little bit of that. Like,
Well, it's growing and changing. Like I knew when I started smelling things in the air, and I knew things were different. I was like, oh God, like I can smell things that nobody else smells, or I see things that nobody else sees, and I hear things that nobody else hears. But here recently, um, it's getting to the point where I can hear what people are saying, and then I know it's crazy, but I can hear what people are saying, and it's almost like when a person gets stuck in their head and they can't find the next word, and I know it, and I have to catch myself because I'll say it. And then they were like, "How did you know I was gonna say that?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't, and I can't explain it." Case in point, there was a lady at my job getting ready to go to a birthday party, and she said, "Well, I gotta leave. I gotta leave early. I'm going to my friend's party." I said, "Oh, she's turning 50, huh?" She's like, "Do you know her?" I said,
Right. She probably thinks you're stalking her or something.
I was like, "Oh, no, no, no." She said, "Oh, how did you know?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "My sister told me you were psychic," but I was like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "I'm sorry. I had like one shot that night. And like, I don't even drink, and I had one shot. And so here it is. It's like everybody, it was like everybody I looked at, I'm seeing a whole scenario play out." And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't really want to see all this stuff because I don't want to feel like I'm in people's personal space. Like, see it, trying to see things. So it's not that I'm trying to look at it. It just shows up. It just shows up. So yeah, that and being able to help people cross over on another level. Like now is where people come through and I can channel things. They'll tell me a secret, tell me all types of stuff, and ask me, "Look, will you help me cross over?" So it's getting to be a bit much. I had to set business hours for them because there is no time where they are, and it can be 2:30 in the morning. They'll be like, "Hey, listen," and I'm like, "No."
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
obnoxious. Yeah.
it really is, because you gotta understand that some of these people have done crazy things, and they're really stuck and they're trapped. They're trapped, and you can't come over here in my house. I have to like put up protective measures all the time, and it's just you know a lot. And then your family, like I have a granddaughter, and my granddaughter, I believe, has my gift, and she's 3. She has a lot of my gifts, so it's helping spotting it in kids and helping them to protect it, early on. Whereas people like us, like, instead of being called weird, I let her know that she's not crazy in so many words. Like, I'll just let it, like, I'm trying to make it normal for her to grow up as a psychic.
yeah, because a lot of kids are told they're
Yeah,
just
crazy.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
do admit, you have to walk
You're
between worlds
weird.
pretty much. You walk between worlds, I called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this world is crazy. So we might be the only thing here that actually makes sense in the grand scheme.
It's funny. It's all coming back full circle, because we had this, the world had this scientific, you know, wave go through where spirituality isn't real anymore, and this is all science. Can it be proven? And
And
like,
it's
people
both.
have that mentality, yeah,
Mhm.
and it's you can't get rid of it. Like,
It's both.
you're
Like,
never gonna get rid of it.
yeah, like when I'm working with people now, like if I see somebody who's having, like, say, chest congestion, or if, like, I see the big C on women a lot. Um, and I had this Puerto Rican lady recently, um, about 2 years ago, though, I told her she had a lady in her office that's working in her office, and I saw the big C on this lady on the left side of her breast, like on her left breast. And she said, talk to her because I know you see something. I was like, okay, I'll tell her. And I told her, and I also told her it was because she was bitter and that she, she needed to heal that part of her that was bitter and, about her marriage or whatever. And she's like, I know, but it's hard and I can't forgive him. I said, okay. So, like a few weeks later, she got a diagnosis. She was in stage 4. So, yeah, but she did listen to some of the things that I said and started redoing all of. She's in remission now, which is good.
Good. Yeah.
But I told my friends, stop hugging her and stop listening to her go off on her husband. Don't listen to the negative stuff that she brings. You're not a dumping ground. And she said, well, why? I said, well, because you're open to it. You don't take care of your health like you should. You don't take your supplements. You don't clear yourself. You don't eat right. So your minerals are off. And if your minerals are off in your body, those entities can attach to you a lot easier.
Oh my
Especially,
God. Fryer and I, we
it's,
were just talking about that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
if
So
you're
sorry.
anemic and
Yeah.
like if your iron is low, they love it. They love it. It's like here they come. And you'll see dark rings around people's eyes when they're around people that's doing that to them, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but yeah, I see a lot. I see a lot. So
Yeah.
dealing with those minerals though, you gotta keep your minerals up or you can open yourself up to this
Yeah,
stuff.
you're
So
definitely very, very talented. I've never been on that level. But I've met other people who are too. And I was actually telling Prior about a psychic I had known who was working with those low level entities, working with them, and they were working with her as if it was all good, as if they weren't what I knew what they were. I was like, I ain't working with these guys. Why are you
And
working with this?
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Some of those people come from
Yeah, they feel like, oh,
they
I'm
come from
getting
that
this
type
stuff.
of background, that type of DNA, I'll say. So it might be okay for them to work with them, but I'm not getting ready to go and work with them for them to take me down to some
No,
levels of hell that I've never
no.
been. No, thank you.
Well, I kept getting like that drainage ditch, and it looks really gross. And I was like, why the fuck? Why are
Yeah.
you working with this? What are you doing? And
hmm
she was above me, like I know more
Yeah.
than you.
Right. And so like
Okay,
the thing that
see
connects
what happens.
the science with that though is that different things come out in different areas. If you think about where your breasts are and where your lungs are, that's in your heart space. So if that is, somebody keeps coming against you, you got a broken heart, you're grieving the loss of somebody, grieving the loss of a situation, if you're anemic, all of that stuff works with this area. So you can get like things like respiratory infections, asthma, bronchitis, heart disease, gum disease, believe it or not, because it connects. And then there was so
Autoimmune
many.
disorders are a big one too.
Yeah, autoimmune disorders, and that would attack your stomach and your heart space, like this
Everything.
whole
Yep.
area. So it just inflames, and so I do a heart. I usually start with the heart place, like I'll do heart work and help people with the heart work first, because man, the stuff that it does to women is crazy, like PCOS and breast cancer and all this other stuff. This is all linked to like trauma and wounds, like epigenetic wounds, and then the stuff that we go through as a whole for ourselves, and then like we can't talk about it, and it just comes out um through your body some type of way.
It will. It will. I've been working with people who have dealt with childhood traumas like rape and things like that, like almost my
Mm-hmm.
entire life. And when you see them as
Mm-hmm.
grown adults who've never tried to do anything, talk about it or anything, it's usually
Mm-hmm.
they're coming out of, like, when they're finally starting to heal, they're coming out of like a horrible drug addiction,
Yeah, because
alcoholism,
they have
some
like systems in their body that have been attacked by it. Like there's a part of your brain that narrows every time somebody hurts you. And so it just keeps replaying the pain, and that's what creates chronic pain. So the
yeah.
scientific part of it actually makes sense because it's being taken like the person is draining your life force, you know. So it makes sense. Like some of the things that connect in the body, it makes sense. And it a light bulb comes on with people who are, I work with a lot of intellectual people. And this stuff is really weird to them because they're so disconnected from their spiritual part, you know, of themselves. Some of them, I even think they don't have, like, they have a soul, but it's so underdeveloped.
They're like,
And
they're brand new.
yeah, it's so underdeveloped, and they get mad and angry and hurt, and they just hold that stuff in, and the next thing you know, they're just sick all the time for no reason. But it
Yeah,
is for a reason, but they can't pinpoint the reason.
I think I did that to myself,
Hmm.
actually. That was part of like
Oregano
my
oil
little
helps.
journey.
Like, do you take supplements?
No, I should. I don't know. I
Um,
started taking this awesome supplement. I liked it, but then it gave me like hormonal breakouts. So I'm like, well,
mm,
why was this happening? It's supposed to be organic and awesome and made of real
oh, how do you
food.
feel
And
about oregano oil, like
yeah,
the
I would
capsules?
totally do oregano oil, like
Oregano
that.
oil,
Yeah.
I take it in the capsules because that shit's hot, not gonna lie. Like you put
Yeah,
it in your mouth and it's
yeah.
like, ooh. I didn't know it one time, and baby, let me tell you, I love hot food, but I felt like I had put horseradish in my mouth.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for the warning. I totally would have been like,
I learned to get it in capsule form, but it's one of the things that I give a person when they're grieving, because grief can set up in your lungs, and it can also affect your heart space. And so I tell people things like, okay, they're like, oh, I just can't get rid of this cough. My lungs just feel like, you know, especially at night. Get some oregano oil, put your humidifier out, put some essential oils in the, you know, eucalyptus or whatever, because eucalyptus and camphor, actually, those entities hate it. As a
yeah, I
matter of
love
fact, that's
eucalyptus.
what I was burning. Hold on. Excuse me, y'all. Look out for Fanny. But that's what I get, these like things, and I do different things or whatever, and I switch up my practice. But when I feel like something is heavy, like I was getting ready to get on here, y'all, and I knew somebody was in a lot of pain and a lot of anguish because I could not stop my eyes from watering. I cry for people. And I was like, who the hell is sad on here? And I turned on the phone and there was Nikki, like she had
Stop!
just
Oh
went
my
in.
God! I did. I just lost
But
my
before
shit
then, I
before.
had already felt led to light up my coal and put
Stop!
my
I
little
was like,
camphor on there. You see my camphor block?
I'm so sorry, Latonya. I tried to just
And
be
but
clear and
that's
clean.
okay.
I was like, I don't want her picking any of my shit up. Like,
No,
fuck.
but I did that
Didn't
before you
even
got
think about
online.
it. God damn it. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna cry my cup off today.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so somebody needs something. So I'm sitting up here like y'all, literally in front of my camera
Stop!
going, look, I'm
Feel
smoking
so
things
called
going, who
out.
is
God
it?
damn
Who,
it.
who?
I am
Look,
so
I'm over here
sorry.
plucking out stuff and throwing it away and
I am in
got my
fact
weapons
unhealed.
out.
Okay.
I was
I
like,
am in
what the
fact an
hell?
unhealed human. Right?
No, it's but that's the type of stuff that we're supposed to be able to go in and do, because I have to do this stuff on myself. Y'all, why do you think I got it here? We go through years, especially as hairstylists, working over people's
Yeah.
crowns, and then we have all this energy and this hair coming out on. That's why if you see a lot of hairstylists that are on psychotic medicine, they're on
Yes. Oh my
antidepressants, they're
God.
always anxious. We
Yeah.
always got like some type of like thyroid problem. Something crazy is
Yeah.
always going on
Absolutely.
because
You're
we got
so right.
everybody's stuff, and our endocrine system is over here like, bitch.
Yeah.
Go
Dude.
get a lymphatic massage, lay some crystals on, take a
Amen.
go take a
I do that
spiritual
stuff
bath.
all the time. I'm always dry brushing or I'm doing my own like
Yeah, because
massage,
like people come in my
lymphatic.
room and I know it smells like incense and camphor and old ladies and hot tea in here all day, every day, because I'm constantly clearing, because I can literally go to the gas station and the little old lady across from me has just all kinds of stuff going on, and I'm standing there trying to fight back tears at the gas station, and I don't know this lady from Adam. You know, that's the drawback to being this intuitive. This is
Yeah.
why it's more I'm trying to get like the online things off the ground or push to another level, because being around people and peopling all day, I shield
I have a
myself a
hard
lot.
time. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
spend so much time shielding yourself, and doing protective things until you can't really think. Your whole life revolves around trying to protect your aura at that time.
Yeah, I couldn't live like that. I did a
Yeah.
lot of psychic development work
Hmm.
for a lot of years. I played around with it, and I
Yeah. It's getting better
yeah.
because
Mm.
you have to learn new levels. Like every time you go to a new level, you have to learn how to protect that part of you that grew out because you expanded. And so you have to have new practices.
Yeah, I ended up going insane. So I just thought astrology is way better for
Mhm.
me because I can see the same thing in there. Then just
Girl,
gives
that's
me a
why I don't want
tool,
to do the
gives me an
readings and
outlet.
stuff. Like, I'll
Yeah,
be so glad when my finances get to the point where I don't have to do like the actual readings because people never want to hear what they need to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear. And I
yeah.
don't have time for it.
Sometimes they're
It
not even
sucks the
listening.
life right out of
Yeah,
you. It's like
yeah.
they stick a straw in there and
Yeah.
just suck, and it's terrible.
It's like, girl, ooh, some people I just
Yeah.
want to pay them to leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people, no matter how much money they're offering you, it's not worth it. Like, it
It is
doesn't
not.
matter.
It is
Hundreds,
not.
thousands, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's why also I see a lot of people that is, a lot of spiritual or divine people have gone to the point of being minimalist now because they literally can pack up and leave with what is on their back for the peace. You have to have peace because you can't do like most people and just shut it off. It's who you are, it's not what you do. So you don't even get a chance to compartmentalize. The only time that we get any relief is when we're thinking high or something. And even
Yeah.
then, it depends on what you're high on.
Amen. A
Because,
fucking man.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
like
you're absolutely right.
I
And
had
it's
been
hard
going
to.
through life sober to this last couple of gifts presented themselves, and I was like, shit, I don't even know how to inhale, and I can't get high. And somebody was like, girl, just eat a gummy. And when I did, I was like, I can't believe I used to beat my kids for smoking, and this is what they were
Yeah,
experiencing.
and
I
it's
am so sorry.
amazing.
I
I
called my
find.
son and I said, listen, you need to do it in moderation, but I see why you do it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
he's like me and he could not work a regular job sober, I don't think.
Yeah.
Regular jobs weren't meant to be worked in the first place. The whole
No, they were
system's a
Yeah.
not.
mess.
The
They
whole
were
system
not.
is a mess. And there's
It's
nothing
to the
wrong with
point, yeah.
medicating with a natural product. I mean, the thing is that we've been trained to think that this is a gateway drug, and I treat people
Mm-hmm.
every single day and I prescribe them things every single day that are getting them off of hard
Right.
drugs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the gateway out, guys. Sorry. It was never the
Mm-hmm.
egg on the frying pan. But we don't know that, people. I knew
But yeah,
I
and then the food that we eat have a lot to do with it too. So when people are like going through these type of changes, I always tell them, please cut your sugars as much as possible. Those things love when you have sugar, it keeps you inflamed, it messes with your
yes.
stuff. And then like the parasites this and like all type of things that come get in your joints and everything. It's just not worth it. Like when you're doing release work, you have to really hold yourself accountable because you got to evict these things.
Hmm.
Not your fault that you got them, but it is your responsibility to get rid of them. It takes everything in you. Like by the time you get done with that, you don't have time to be fussing and arguing and carrying on and acting crazy with other people.
Yeah, I tell people right away, how serious are you about changing your life? And
Walking
because if you're
away is
I
one of
thought
the
you
serious,
said
well,
biggest
you need.
things that.
shaving your legs. I was like,
No, oh
oh,
my
that's a
God.
different level.
Oh, I know. I actually just shaved my legs. I have a
Girl,
reason to, but I didn't want like my socks to like make the leg hair like go
we're
down.
not even going to
Hurt.
talk about hair and body hair and stuff.
I forgot what I was
Oh my
saying.
God, we're not going to even talk about it. Just like the older I get, the more I was thinking, like, is there a man locked up in me somewhere
Yeah, dude,
trying to get out?
I've had this
I feel that.
strange experience, and I know I've had other lives that I've lived
Oh yeah,
as a man, because I think when I
me too.
being born here, I've just been burning out all of this extra masculine
Mhm.
energy. It's
I feel
like,
like I must have been a man whore before or something because I've
I don't know,
experienced the
man.
most
I might have
terrible
done
men
some
in this
things.
lifetime. I guess it's payback. I don't know.
I don't know. I've been wondering that since the very, very beginning, since like I was a little kid. Like, I remembered being an adult and I would try to run away. I was like always trying to go find, like, I don't even remember. I'd be like, I'd catch the memory and I'd go to get it, like, and my mom was always like, what the fuck's wrong with my kid?
Yeah.
But I remembered being an adult and I was trying to like go.
Me too.
Like, but not,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
I
My
saw
earliest
myself
memory
getting out
is
of
a
a
scary one too.
stagecoach one time with a lady that I actually know in this lifetime. And I got out of a stagecoach with her, and I looked up and I saw her and her husband, and we were dressed in these, the shirts that button all the way up to here, and it has a little, the little, what do they call
Yeah.
them?
Oh, like those
The
little
cameo little
Victorian.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the little hats or whatever, and it was so dusty. And I got out I was like, where the hell am I? And I looked up and I saw her. I was like, she looked at me and she said, I was wondering when you was gonna finally realize, like make it here. And years later, this was last year actually in September, I met a guy in Houston. And when he looked at me, he said, oh, you're and I was looking at him like, why is he looking at me like this? So later on, he told me, he said, you came to me in a dream. You were in a stagecoach. God, I like died because the
Oh,
man
shit.
described me down to the T. He's like, and I know, he's like, literally, he's like, I was trying to figure out how I was going to get next to you and how I was going to get to you. And these spirits came and got me and took me to the dream world. And this man talking to me like, and I'm thinking, oh God, well, how much does he know? He said, and you were in the stagecoach and I was walking alongside it. And he said, I was asking, hey, let me get in there with you. Come on, let me get in. And he said, clearly in the voice that I have now, this voice came out of that stagecoach and said, are you sure about that? Are you sure you want to get in here? And it scared that poor man to pieces. But I knew the stagecoach he was talking about. I knew what he was talking about. And then when I said hello to him and he had never met me before and knew my voice, it scared the shit out of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I've had
scared him.
experiences like that too.
Yeah, because my
where I've been
higher self
scared.
and my spirit goes places before I do, and they do stuff to set it in order. And like here I am in the 3D or whatever, and trying to figure it all out, and wonder why people are already scared.
Well, that's on them being scared. Yeah, I totally get that. I've had some weird.
I'm glad he was scared.
too.
He was a dirty old man.
Yeah.
A very gifted dirty old man at that.
There's some really awful people that have some really cool powers.
Yeah, he's a warlock. He was a warlock, and I knew he was, but not in a good way.
Are there? I don't know like the terms, which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Well,
if you ask my grandma,
like,
they all worship the devil.
Yeah, like some people are born knowing things, and I think it's just kind of like the name that they put on it. Like some people call me a witch. I don't necessarily consider myself to be a witch, but if that's what they call, but with him, when I say warlock, I think about Gargamel on like the Smurfs or whatever, like somebody who's always trying to get control over people without their permission type of thing, and that's who he was. Like he was going around doing this to women for years and siphoning their energy, and I could tell that's what he was doing. So I was gonna pay him back for everything he had been doing to people if he had got in that stagecoach, I believe. So he was smart. He left me alone. Yeah. So that's one of the drawbacks to well, it's a plus to having a gift too. I feel like that, it makes it, worthwhile when you get protected like that.
Do you feel like your gifts isolated you from like friends and family?
All the time.
Yeah. Was it hard to like have a normal job with that?
It is. It's hard to have a normal job. It's hard to have a business, because if you don't know how much you can say and how far you can go, and you don't want to offend people, you don't want to scare people because you want to help them. So it does make you feel isolated because there's not a whole lot of people that's like us around, and if they are, they're scared to talk about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a lot of people who avoid me now that I made friends with I thought I made friends with at the story workout. They're
there's
like,
a mixture.
You're too intense. You're too weird. Like I can't.
Right.
Like So they come in later, and then when I'm staying later,
But
I'm
we're
like, oh
living in a
yeah,
good
it's
time
you.
though now
You're like,
because people seek us out. They think they're intrigued by it until you start telling them things that they knew, they know it kind of freaks them out. Like they
oh
come for
yeah,
one reason and then they kind of stay or leave for another. They can only, take so much. Some
yeah,
people I'm glad when they leave though, because man, they're not really ready for this. And it's not, I'm not being funny, but like some people need to stay asleep because it sedates them. Because when they wake up, it drives them crazy because now they can't unsee things. And I think that's what leads some people to unalive themselves because they can't unsee. So yeah, being careful about who open around, because just me sitting in the room can spontaneously help somebody to just go and like whoa, just one sentence in a light bulb might come on just enough to drive them nuts. And I had to really be conscious of that because I found that people would be hanging on, like they wouldn't think I was crazy, but it would bring a point up that they had never thought about before. And they'd be like, well, damn, how did you think about that? You're a hairstylist. Like they think that the books, like we
hmm
can't get this out of books. Matter of fact, most of the stuff that's in the books is not even accurate.
yeah, yeah. We
Not here in
talk
the
about that a
West.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not here in the West. So,
No,
I actually have a
no.
question about that. So clearly, like your gifts and everything are going to come naturally to you. I think they usually come naturally to most people with maybe
hmm
some like intentional development done later on.
hmm
But some of the other practices that you have of clearing, cord cutting, and just some of the work that you've done,
hmm
how did you become proficient in that? Were there certain books that you read? Do you have like teachers that you follow, or what?
I
How did that
do.
go?
I actually grew up Kojic, that's Church of God in Christ, and that's like something that's pretty like it's, I guess you could call it Pentecostal, but there were a lot of sages, a lot of medicine women, a lot of root workers and different things disguised as clergy in that particular church. Because me growing up as like, of a person of my background and my ethnicity, we had to hide our practices in plain sight. So people adopted Christianity because it was a way for them to hide what they were really doing, which is hoodoo, whatever. Because they weren't free to do their spiritual practice. They were never religious people. They were spiritual people, very spiritual. They love music, they love dance because they know that's all a way of communicating with the other side. Like before we had the part of our brain that could articulate thoughts into words, we had music and we had people, everybody got their own vibration, telepathically speaking. So we do, like that's the type of thing that I think that we're getting back to in the age that we're living in. It's okay to be that person. Um, but it's also like kind of a drawback to people. Like we need to know how far to go with people. Like not to take them too fast. I know it sounds like I'm all over the place, but I literally
You
hear
sound
channel.
Mm,
exceptionally coherent. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
No, I totally get it. You're not all over
yeah.
the place at all. No, and
And it's, I feel protected a lot because like I have favor with death, and I found it out a long time ago. Like that's why I say I feel like I'm that the guy in Meet Joe Black because I know I crossed over and I know this thing helped me come back, you know. And every time I get ready to go from one situation to another one, I can feel it around me saying it's okay to step out, leap, leap now, whatever, it's gonna hurt, but leap anyway, type of thing. I know that that's what it is, and I also know my enemies and hidden enemies too, because this thing shows up to them. Not gonna lie, girl called me. This supposed to be. She used to rent a house for me back when I had money, in houses, and she used to rent a house for me, and I took her under my wing when I was like in regular ministry or whatever. And she knows I'm gifted. She's very much so gifted herself, but I used to be very overweight and she did too. And then I lost weight and she did not. Something that simple, just, I don't know. Like, and then my gifts kept heightening because I've been doing the work. And I think she was kind of jealous because she felt like I left her behind or whatever. But now I'm still cordial. I still go to gatherings, even though I see all this stuff. And I didn't want to believe that she had it in for me until the other day. She called me. She texted me. She said, "Do you believe in shadow beings?" I said, I do. Like, what are you talking about? She said, "Yeah, well, there's one." I was getting in my bed, and I looked back at my TV, and I saw this thing. Saw you. Your face came up, and this thing with red eyes, and it was black, and it was following you. I said, "Oh yeah, my life has been like a sci-fi movie for the last 2 years." I said, "Yeah, it's very intrusive, isn't it?" But I knew what it was. And I knew what it was. And so that's what it is. Like, it shows up to people, and it's not bad, but it looks scary to people who send you bad energy, or like they have something. Yeah, and they'll expose themselves. So that's one of the pluses to having, death be on your side, because I've gone through several times where I was outside of my body, and I felt parts of me when I was doing like the quantum healing. I didn't know
Yeah.
that I was going to have to go out of myself a couple of times to bring parts of me back. And parts of myself that came back, I literally got knocked out of my body and then I woke up and all of us were in there together. And I'm like, freaking A. It scared the shit out of me. And I thought I was crazy until I ran into somebody who was like a former counterpart, and he knew who I was. He knew who I was. He said, "How did you get here?" And I said, "I don't know. This is not fair." Because like in this world, I dated his cousin before, so I can't rightly be, like, so. And it was kind of weird because he introduced us, and the man was like this when he was looking at me. He's like, "How did you get here?" And the crazy part is I knew exactly who he was. He knew who I was. He described me again, down to the last everything. He even told me where I got freckles at that I didn't know that anybody knew I had. So I know it was him. So yeah, it's some weird stuff. Like, nobody can come and tell me anything that shocks me anymore.
Yeah, that
Mm-mm.
happens to us all the time too. Nikki, I know you dreamt about people that you ended up meeting in real life.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, years before I met you, I had a dream about you on a mountaintop, and we were with our group of people, and you were like, "All right, everybody needs to chill the fuck out." You're kind of like, it was like a powwow time, and it was a really, really horrible, horrible time in my life. So it was weird when I finally met. I was like, "Oh wow, I feel like I've been looking for you."
Yeah,
But
that's crazy. I told
yeah,
just
but
I told Jerry that I met Abby in the other rooms before I even got a chance to meet her. It's like, I guess I could meet her in the natural now because I met her in the spirit, and she's awesome. And he's like, "Yeah, she is really, she really is." I said,
You
"Yeah."
guys are so sweet.
Yeah,
Thank you
and I
so
had
much.
a
That's so
friend
kind of you.
when I was a kid, I had a friend, her name was Abby, and she actually she got cancer and passed away when she was really, really young. But it's crazy because y'all look alike, same hair, everything. It's like Abby grew up and was in another place.
That's
So I
weird.
was totally taken back because I know you probably looked at me when I did my reading the first time, and the camera came on, and I kind of had to gather myself because I was like, shit, where did I go? I was like, well, shit.
Yeah,
It's like,
I didn't know you were like having a moment. You held it together really well.
I was like, whoa. So I'm over there like, okay. I'm not saying that's you, but it reminded me so much of
Right,
it.
right.
It makes you comfortable. I think the divine has ways of making us feel comfortable with people. And that was one of the, yeah, you favor her a lot. It was, I can't remember what actually it was. What kind of cancer it was, but I mean, I think we were in like the third or fourth grade, and I never forgot her face. I never forgot, none of it. So, yeah,
Latonya,
that's awesome.
I have a question for you. You're really in tune, and this is something I've always really wondered, and maybe you can't answer it, maybe somebody else will answer it, but like, do you feel like people can live more than one life? Like
Oh yeah,
be in two different bodies, living at the same time,
yeah,
like, and having simultaneous, like, having
yes,
something happen to you, and you're like,
yes.
why,
In fact, if
like,
you've been doing work on yourself and pulling your fragments back, the closer you get to them all uniting, you will run into people that they even favor you, and they look like relatives. They look like people you know. before you pull yourself back together, because parts of you is in that person, like it's your soul group,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
And so I know you can be in several places. Like I believe that my granddaughter is pretty much me, and she's here already, and I'm still here.
That's a real thing. It's called split incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of cases of it. I mean, nobody would believe us if we tried to prove it,
It's true though.
but
It
yeah,
is
but
so
there's
true.
a ton of evidence for it. Friar, your your image is epic.
I love it.
That looks like Jesus coming down on a flying velociraptor. Is that what I see there? Oh, he that's
I
his
love it. I like
yeah,
It
he
that.
must
must
have
be
been
his
somewhere.
bathroom
Yeah.
break.
I like that. Have you ever noticed too that everybody has a Mr. Smith, like on the Matrix, when Neo's like Mr. Smith kept showing up, but it's really him in a dark sense, kind of. I've had to run into some people that were me, but the dark side of myself. Like like I could get with them because I understood why they were like they were, but it really made me go in and just kind of fix myself, because I'm looking at it like, oh my God, like how is this person really like the dark side of me? The stuff about me that I really don't like, that I'm working on, every bit of it showed up in this person. And it came to me like it has to show up for you to be able to fix it, so that you can allow things, to get back into place. It's not to get rid of your dark side, it's to embrace it.
Oh
It
yeah, that's
it keeps me
the
humble to know the dark things that I think.
everyone's
Like
like,
I'm not
I've done the
perfect.
shadow work. I've done the shadow. Well, you still have a shadow. You're still always gonna have a shadow. It
You're
doesn't go
gonna
away.
always have it. It's
It's
just to
called
get in your,
integration.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like having that fun time with your shadow when nobody's looking or whatever, and just kind of
But as somebody like me, it was like when I was younger, in my 20s, and 30s, going to all these spiritual retreats and searching and doing all this cool stuff. I mean, they the mistake was being told that you have to work on the shadow side as if it's something you can heal and get rid of. And that's not like that's not hasn't been my journey at all. I'm like, this
no.
shadow is always going to be here. This is
Yeah, and
always
I don't
work.
know.
This is
I
always a
think,
journey.
yeah, I think the danger with it is sometimes people think their shadow self is, or their shadow side is unacceptable because of the way we've been cultured, like the things that's acceptable around.
Yeah.
And I
Like,
think
don't
some
be
of it is not
angry.
really, yeah, it's not really bad. It's just it is not accepted. Just like all crimes are, like some crimes are pretty much self-defense. So like just because it's the law don't make it right, and
Yeah.
just because it's the norm does not make it, the only thing that's right. Like people are different, and I don't think we've been allowed to be different. Just like
No.
we were talking about working, everybody has a certain gift and a talent. I think that should make room for us, and we shouldn't have to worry about going to go get an education. We should fine tune the gifts that we already have, bring that to the world, and then get paid to be ourselves. Who would ever want to retire from that?
Yeah,
Because you
I'm on board
can't.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. Well, when you do what you love, like the money comes. Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've always followed that because I
I am
fought
learning
against
this
it
though,
forever.
Nikki. This might help you. The shadow side. They've been teaching me how to use my shadow side to protect myself from these people who come in and are very intrusive, and that the parasitic people or whatever. I they tell us to be nice. I'm not being nice. I'm being fair. And if it's an attack on me or an attack on my kids or attacks or people that I see can't defend themselves, then by all means, I'm not going to hurt you if you don't hurt somebody. I don't try to hurt people. I don't
No,
try to hurt
no.
people. I do try to protect people that can't defend themselves. And then I try to protect myself, because these people, if we don't, like, they've already taken over, and the ego is so big in these people. I studied this mind virus. I'm sure y'all have heard of it, with Tico. And it's pretty much the Native Americans talked about it a lot. It's where a person does not self-actualize. It's pretty much classic narcissism, but it's on a scale that goes beyond. It infects your ego. Ego is not bad until it's inflated or wounded or something like that, and they're not taking care of it. It's part of us that it needs to be there in this realm to protect us. But it also can get infected, and it can cause you a whole lot of trouble, being around these type of people, because I feel like that's where they're attached to you at. And it's going to sound weird, but that's why it's important not to sleep in the bed with people that have this type of energy, because right in the back of your neck, they can kind of like, they're like leeches. They will try to get in here and get in your mind and like set chords, set different, you know, while you're asleep. So it's very important to be mindful, like of protecting your aura, even when you're sleeping, especially when you're sleeping with the enemy, because some of us had to do that.
Ground Zero asked, what is shadow work and how to use it?
Okay.
I'm
So
assuming, yeah, that's for you. Got to field that one. As the
yeah,
special guest, it's on you.
yeah. So shadow work to me, I think it's different for everybody, but shadow work to me is going in and seeing things about me that I've shoved to the back and did not want to even acknowledge were in there as a person to me. You know, like, and things that I hid that I know I wasn't supposed to be hidden, such as like my gifts. And shadow work to me is uncovering things and looking at it. Just looking at it and allowing it to be there, allowing me to be the person that want to cuss people out in my head, like, okay, or allowing myself to be someone who don't always like my kids, even though I love them, or or that don't like my parents sometimes, and I love them, but I don't always like them, and to be okay with being the fat girl on the inside that gets up, in the middle of the night and makes pancakes and glaze,
That
or knowing
sounds
I, you
so
know,
good. What a great
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, like
sounds amazing, actually.
it's like, making apple pie turnovers at 2 a.m. Sometimes I feel really guilty because I know I'm not supposed to be into sugar like that. So, but shadow work is me doing that, but then saying, no, this does not make me garbage just because I'm doing this, and I know what to take or what to do to purge myself. It's small things, but for the most part, it made me look at myself as a person and as a parent. And I think as the walk of a shaman or a healer, you have to go through things that you don't want to see. You got to face yourself. And it's like being ripped to shreds by yourself,
Mm.
but then coming back better. And it
Yeah,
can look a
shadow.
lot like self-loathing, but no, it's me being able to self-actualize, me being able to love who I am, but correct things. So
Yeah, and then
I don't know how to kind of explain it. I know it's different for everybody, but yeah, shadow work is definitely necessary for you, for the healing of your ego.
yeah, I totally agree. I totally
Yeah,
agree
and to
with
be able to
everything you
connect with
said.
your spirit, like to
Yeah,
connect to spirit. Yeah.
it's taking a look at all of the things about yourself
Hmm.
that you think are ugly and bad,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
and looking at it from a different perspective. I mean, a lot of times
yes.
people look at their childhood and they blame themselves. Oh, as if you should have known better. Like,
Yep.
you think that now because you know better, like that you didn't at the time. So there's like
Yeah.
a level of forgiveness you have to give yourself
It
with
helps you to
shadow
get
work.
rid of guilt, like it helps you to
Yeah,
get rid of guilt and shame, because guilt and shame keeps us on a lower level. If hell was a place, I would say fear, guilt, and shame were right at
hmm,
the borders of it.
yeah, I agree. I agree, and it holds a lot of people back because they think they're worth
Mhm.
it, like they're not worth anything.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not
because you
worth
get in that
anything
state of
because somebody
mind where
took my
you
power
think
away.
that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
brings you to that state. And I've seen people who are like great. I mean, just awesome in my eyesight. I'm looking at them like, whoa, you're the best thing ever. And all they could see is the problems the things that they didn't like about themselves. It just totally went over their head how awesome they actually were. And it's good because it keeps them humble, which keeps you safe, because humility keeps you safe a lot of times. But
yeah.
at the same time, you want them to be okay with who they are and see the good part, because you don't want to always be looking at the bad things or things that we don't like.
Yeah, that might like yeah, I'm always like on a
Mhm.
self improvement journey
Have you
myself.
ever
So
noticed too, when you're doing, like, I'm asking questions myself, but like,
no,
I
go
know I'm
ahead.
not the
No.
host. It's okay. Okay, so have you ever noticed that when you're doing shadow work too, you'll get to the point where it's hard not to trauma bond with people who are going through similar situations? Like,
yeah, they tend. Yeah, they tend to. You tend to meet people that are mirroring the same things that are going on
mhm,
inside of you,
mhm,
and that's another reason why I stopped like wanting to do readings, like psychic readings. I mean,
yeah,
because there were a lot of things coming up that I'm like, okay, is this like for me or is this for the person in front of me?
mhm,
Um, which I get it. Or we're in a constant world of dualities and things like that, or
right.
things of that nature.
And
So
when you
I
see the
mean,
different angles that things come in,
yeah,
and you learn to see other people's side of it, like even the crazy evil folks, they're here to equalize things, honestly. Like,
yeah. I mean that. Okay, like we can't. Everybody wants this like peaceful, loving, awesome world, and
blissful experience.
it is, and it's not that we can't have that, but everybody's so different and on such a different path, and we have billions of people on the planet. Like you're not going to
Mhm.
get a cohesive, awesome flow. It's
And
chaotic.
yeah, and the ability to connect without attaching is something that's like it's very useful. So in that sense, I feel like being rejected as a child has made it so that I know how to connect with people without getting too attached, and I don't expect a whole lot, so I don't get disappointed as often.
Yeah.
Because I know people change. I feel like marriage
Yeah.
license needs to be like where like driver's license, like you renew them every 4 years, and if
Oh
it
my
ain't working,
God.
then you get away with all your stuff
I was married for,
because people change
yeah,
so much. Yeah.
they do. They do. And I thought for sure, like being with the person I was with, that we would be together forever, that this would just
And a version
never,
of
it
you
was
probably will be, but not the
perfect.
new, not
Everything
this,
was
not the
perfect.
version of you now.
No, no, no. There were so many things I was overlooking that I just was, I honestly, I look back and I'm like, wow, it was all right there. It was all right there
Hmm.
laid out in front of me.
Yeah, like
And
even
I
for
don't
me,
think I
like
was with a
when
bad
people say,
person, but
yeah, like, and when people say when you're healing from a situation, call all parts of yourself back to yourself, I was like, no, no, I don't want all parts. I don't want. I just
yeah.
want the parts that serve my highest good, because some of those parts were tainted, and I'm glad
Well,
they
I had
gone.
to think about how selfish I was being, because obviously, I know that this person and I aren't growing anymore
Yeah.
together. That stopped. It actually stopped years
Mhm.
ago, and it wasn't.
And it can be
It hasn't
harmful
been
to that
great.
other person too if we stick around and knowing
Exactly.
that we need to go ahead and
Because
go.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make it work, and like I'm looking at what it's doing to
Yeah.
the both
Especially
of
with
us, and I'm
kids
like,
involved. When you
okay,
have children involved, it can be hard.
yeah, yeah. I just wish he wouldn't like. He's like already dating, like trying to date. I'm like, what are you thinking? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Well,
Like,
in a way, that's good though, because it takes the focus off you, and
oh yeah,
you get to regain your energy, because now
yeah,
there's a new source. Because
yeah.
think
There's
about it, if you want to purge that part of him out of you, you can't keep being in like the energy. If you, especially if you having to still be in the house, it's hard.
yeah. It's great now because I think
So it's good to
we've
have somebody
reached
to
a.
distract to distract him while you heal.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't want to say we're friends, but we're in friendly terms. I mean because this is
Mhm.
somebody I was in love with for a very
Yeah.
long time and who I still love, but that transformed, it changed, and
Yep.
when
And then
things
we got to think
when
about the
people
parts.
grow, they grow and they
Yeah.
change and they become different people too.
Yeah.
And you have to accept it,
And
and
it makes it easier to forgive when you focus on what,
yeah.
like, because all of us did some stuff, even in the most horrible
Oh,
relationships. I find myself in there, and
absolutely.
that's how I keep from going back to that. Is I find myself like, what was I doing? What
Oh
did
my
I
God,
do?
yeah. I had to look
What was
back and
my
I'm like,
response?
I was
Yeah.
like, toxic Nikki. Oh my God. If
Yeah.
I had
Some
to
people really do bring out the worst in you.
hooked up to toxic Nikki, like I would have fucking took off years ago. Like, holy
Mhm.
shit. So I know there were things that I had to work
Once that part is over, like you'll get to the point where first you're mad, then you're disappointed, then you're
yeah.
mad, and then you go through this thing like, oh, why didn't I do this sooner?
Well, I have, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a
Held,
place of
held
peace and
back.
bliss that replaces that you cannot describe, and you do not. Once you get it, you don't want to interrupt
Yeah.
that or
My
disturb
nervous
it.
system went from here down to here. Like I wouldn't trade that for
Now, what's
anything.
that we're looking at?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Latonya.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you're
Hopefully, it's
back.
not going to kick me out again. I had to restart my computer because I don't know, it was just crashing my StreamYard. but this program is called Stellarium. You guys out there watching, you should download it for free. I don't know about if it works on Mac, you guys. I don't think it does. Nikki, doesn't it not work so well on Mac? I'm not sure.
Well,
Anyways,
I don't have a
try it
Mac
out.
anymore, but yeah.
It's planetarium software, and it allows you to do so very many things, and it shows you where everything's at in the sky. Now, if you are a fan of pop culture astrology, you know, like Google what's my sign and what's going on today.
Zodiac,
yeah, you're probably not aware that the sun is right here on the literal tail end of Sagittarius, and definitely not, what are they saying? It's like in Capricorn or something? Is that what people are saying?
For Christ's sakes, I
Yeah,
don't
they're
even
saying
know
it's
if we're
in
in
Capricorn.
Capricorn season anymore. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
and those who are sensitive knows that it's not.
Say that again?
I said those who are very sensitive to energy knows it's not. We can still feel that heat.
I mean, I would hope so, but
I felt it when it finally broke the galactic center. I was like, yeah.
You wouldn't
Keep
believe
going.
how many astrologers don't look at the sky and have never observed where a planet is at in a constellation. They probably can't identify a constellation, which sucks,
I always look at, I'm
obviously.
so amazed by people that are astrologists and they know astrology. I'm always just taken in by the way that they can explain things that's going on through the, planets and where everything is.
Yes. Well, speaking of, we're going to run through the week here. I'll go first, and then we'll have Nikki give her take. So the sun, you guys, I know this comes as a shock, okay? But actually, the sun transits Sagittarius every year. This happens all the time. So it's not really fun and exciting, at least for me, to talk about what's going on, because some of the things that are happening seasonally for you are going to depend on where you're at. And a lot of the, in particular, like the Mesopotamian associations do depend a little bit on some of the seasons. So this was obviously, still wintertime and everything, but in Mesopotamia, we're going into like the fertile, rainy time period, which happens predominantly over here. At least it did about 3,000 to 5,000 years ago over here in Aquarius and Pisces. Not surprising that these are watery constellations. Even Capricorn has half of a fish over here. So this was like a fertile time, a time for planting or preparing to plant and like really cultivate your things that you're doing in life. And we see some of that in Western culture in particular, but pretty much all around the world. If you follow like the modern calendar, January 1st, that's a good time to start new things. And sure, this is definitely it. Anytime we have anything going on in Sagittarius, it signals success on some level, but you have to put the work in. Yes. Fortunately, Mercury's over here. Now, if there's an unfortunate to the fortunate, if I can qualify that real quick, sometimes when the sun and Mercury are farther apart, Mercury becomes much more powerful. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. So in Mesopotamia, these were a few different deities. I won't bore you with the details. Definitely go to my website. I have more information if you're interested in that. But it's very similar to the current meaning of Mercury. It's very cognitive, very much about listening, learning, taking in information. But the thing that they did forget in modern times is that this Mercury was associated with water. That was if we had to pick an element, even though they didn't use the element modality system, if we had to pick one, it would have been the water sign. And water was the creative element, which meant that this Mercury has everything to do with curiosity, with learning, with that desire, that hunger to go out and like consume information, go down the rabbit hole and figure stuff out. Now, the downside to this is sometimes strong Mercury in a chart, in this placement currently, this applies, is too logical, too in the head, and it kind of skips over the intuition. When the sun and Mercury are closer together, they kind of blend in better, and it's a much softer, more intuitive vibe as opposed to this, which is like, now this favors you if you have a career where you have to do a lot of analytical work or something that requires a really powerful mind. This is a fantastic placement for you. As the sun moves into Capricorn, like I said, this is really going to depend on what you have going on seasonally, but Capricorn is a really soft constellation. I know you don't get that in the modern interpretations, but this was Tashmatu. She was the goddess of healing and blessing. She was called the divine doctress, the grantor of requests. So Capricorn is very nurturing, selfless, devoted, and pretty dedicated to putting all their love and energy and attention into whatever it is that they're passionate about, whether those are projects or people or, you know, whatever it is. So that definitely serves you and everybody with, you know, Capricorn coming up here over the next few weeks. I mean, it's still going to be a few weeks before we really get into it, but happy almost your birthday is what we'll say. Next, we have Venus and Saturn here conjunct right on the outside of what is currently considered Aquarius, although these constellations changed even over the last 2,000 years. They're not all in the exact same place in these images, but for our purposes, sure. We'll say that it's over here. Now, Saturn's been here for a while. And we talked a little bit about this. It might have been, I think it was the week before last, we were talking about Saturn's influence on AI technology. You know, one of the things I didn't factor in when we were talking about that, and Nikki, I'm not sure if you want to piggyback on this at some point, but is the quantum computing aspect. Now, this is something they've been working on for years. So we can't say, oh, Saturn, you know, being an Aquarius, all of a sudden quantum computing. But it just so happens that we've had this major breakthrough in the last few weeks, really, right as Saturn's finally pulling out of its perpetual retrograde, it seems like, and actually making its way into Pisces, which is really interesting. We can definitely talk about that at a later date. But Venus and Saturn together, in my opinion, is a really nice placement. It definitely puts some love and emotion, some empathy into what can be a very technical placement of Saturn here in Aquarius, where it's like really into the material world. I say material world, I'm not talking about materialism and, you know, greed and ambition, but more ones and zeros, numbers, the material universe, mechanistic science and whatnot, that type of thing. So I think that this is a good thing. I don't see any negative in here just based on this. We did talk last time around about some potential coming up next week, which do I want to zoom back in on this? Let's cover this real quick. Stand by, guys. Hold on. You got to give me the.
Oh no. Did she freeze? Did we freeze?
She might have frozen, yeah.
Oh no. Oh no, we all froze. Am I frozen? Oh wait, no, I'm not frozen.
No, you're not frozen. You're nice and warm.
I'm working on it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's see. What was she talking about?
I was talking about, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it without crashing. I can see it on my end, but I don't know why I do this every week. We've never had a problem. So I'm not really sure why.
I had a huge problem with my internet and doing my recordings.
See, this is the type of thing I would look to for Neptune if people are having like weird tech issues. Now it would have to be people all over. It couldn't just be me for me to note that. But let me see if I can try this again. I may have to pop in and out, you guys, and I apologize. Share the screen. Yes. So where were we? Basically, over the next few weeks, all of these planets right over here are going to jump into. Okay. I'm just pushing one button. Don't crash, please. Please don't crash on me. It was around late January. This period right here. Well, I think is that the sun or the moon? I gotta zoom in. Hold on. Oh, that's V. Okay, so this period is interesting. So it's basically over the next 2 weeks, as Venus moves into Pisces, and it's gonna it's already pulling Saturn along, but she's gonna go. I believe retrograde too here soon. Or is she coming out of retrograde? You guys help.
No, she goes into retrograde sometime in Pisces, and I had it written down,
right.
But I don't remember.
I think that's our is that our hold on, I'm gonna show you right now. Why you gotta be centered, Venus, though. We gotta center you, honey. There we go. She's gonna swing back around. This one's very interesting. That is March 25th, and I think that's right around the time that Mars goes direct again and comes back out of Gemini sometime around. I'm loosely, I don't get super hung up on the dates, you guys, and I don't think you should either. That's my personal opinion. These energies represent windows of whatever we're dealing with. So I don't think the date and time is quite as specific, but where was I going with this? Hold on. All right, don't crash. Don't crash. You can do it. Oh, I got to go back to the right time. What's today, guys? January
15th.
15th.
All right, cool. All right, so, yes, good. All is well. Jupiter's still over here conjunct beautifully, perfectly with this big red star, Aldebaran, which you guys can see this very easily outside. Please go outside. It's different depending on your like geographically where you live. For me, it's usually in the evening, although that's when I go walk my dogs around 10 or 11. It's right smack in the middle of the sky. It's gorgeous. You can see Orion, and he's lining up, pretty easily. Like, definitely go check this out. But this is a phenomenal creativity placement. It's a power placement. And this star was called, I thought it was crashing. Sorry. This was called the Jaws Bull, or what did I just say? The Bull's Jaw. Okay, there we go. Try again. And it was also called the Crown of Anu. And he was the supreme celestial god in Mesopotamia. And this gives, like, this star in particular, really powerful cosmic divine status. Okay. So this conjunction here, any spiritual work that you do, any creative work that you do, any new romantic relationships you're starting, these things are all favored right now, but especially more the spiritual and the creative side. Okay. So definitely take advantage of that. And it's hovering. It's been around here back and forth over the last few months. Like we said, Mars is still working its way back here until mid-March into Gemini. Regardless, this was now in modern times, this is completely different. But in ancient times, these were just versions of him. They were called Lugalira and Meshlam Tai, and they just translated, they were just versions of him, basically, without going into all of that. So Mars being in Gemini, that's kind of like him being at home. Now, we don't do in Mesopotamian terms the same, level of planetary rulership, but if we had to pick one, this would be one of them. I would say Venus is another one. But it's a different conversation. But while this is happening, this does tie in our higher emotion and lower emotion. So like the basic caveman emotions with like that higher blissful love, which can also be dark. We can also get despair and misery out of some of those higher emotions. But what it will do, if you're an empathic person, this placement sucks. And this happens every time Mars goes into Gemini. It just turns on that porous nature that you have with your heart chakra, with your empathic connections to people. So somebody like Latonya probably has a much harder time while this is happening. So good luck, Tanya, well into probably March and April. You're probably going to be feeling the effects of this. So sorry for you.
My phone just totally went out and I missed the good stuff. Like, can you back up just a teeny bit from when I came back in? Because I
don't know when you came in. I have no idea. Because I checked out too. My crashed.
Oh, okay. So you were talking about something about Gemini when I open, because like technically they say I'm a Cancer, but then technically I'm a Gemini, and I identify more, with that type of energy.
Yeah. So in the most simplistic terms, Mars in Gemini becomes clairsentient. And it ties in your physical and psychic energies with your empathic connections, and it just blows them into.
That explains a lot.
Have you had trouble sleeping, especially the last like 2-3 days? I've had a lot of people
I literally had to take something to go to sleep last night, and one night I stayed awake all night, and I'm so sensitive I can feel this stuff coming like a week or two ahead.
Yes. Well, astrologically, there's a window. It's not just on the dates, which, that's another, I don't know if that's like a Western culture thing. Why do people get so hung up on the precise date?
Yeah. Like my thing is I think they try to keep us locked into certain mindsets. They try to control things. So if they can put a time on it, they can put a lock on it, and it don't really exist for us.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Then we just listen to whatever the hell the media tells us.
Yes.
Like the sun is in Capricorn.
I mean, the people that can't even get time zones correct.
No, I mean, I'm not perfect at dates or anything, but at least I can look up. At least I'm looking.
I wish I knew what you all knew, because then things would be like, you'll know things are going on. It might be a little bit hard, but at least you'll know why and kind of when things might even out a little bit.
Oh, that's exactly what astrology should be used for.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we had the full moon on Monday. And the full moon was in contact, I think, oh my God, What did
Yeah,
we have?
it's
Well,
been
so we
so
had like a
strong,
little.
y'all. I'm not
We
gonna
had
lie.
like
I haven't really been out of my like. I walked up the road to get me some air or whatever, but I haven't. It's been so strong. So I literally, I'm glad that I didn't have to leave the house because I didn't want to go too far.
yeah, yeah, and that's probably why. Like, yeah, Mars makes me a little on the shaky side when it moves into
Hmm.
Gemini, the full moon. I was not able to sleep. I was sleeping all the time up until then.
Yep.
Got a good solid 5 hours. It was amazing. But
And
what
it's
it,
crazy. It's crazy
well,
that my throat
Uranus,
and my head was just going nuts. So I had to
Uranus
get
is,
help with
oh,
that.
yeah, yeah, actually, I guess that depends on where what house that's in. I know I was dealing with some health issues too. And I was like,
Hmm.
is it Mars? Like, what is it? Like,
Yeah,
let me
actually,
look.
that's in. If you read the Babylonian omens, Gemini associations often relate to illnesses, and I've been able to verify a lot of that. If you so this type of placement with Mars, if you don't protect yourself with this increased empathic and clairsentient sensitivity, illnesses are definitely one of the bigger problems that you end up with.
And it's not
So
worth being out around all that type of stuff. Like it
No,
was.
no, no, no.
no,
Mm-mm.
I've been fighting off illness too. I've been
Y'all, like
fighting
I'm thinking, like
something
I tell you,
terrible.
it's definitely motivation to make sure that you can find anything to work from home.
Yeah,
Like work,
Yeah.
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 I've actually this full moon was kind of a interesting one. Like it was really chill for me. I hung out with my heating pad and my
Hmm.
books, and I didn't really do
Yeah, it's
anything.
safe as
It
long as
was,
you're inside and away
yeah.
from people and not
it was
answering the
it was a
phone.
really good time to be alone, be creative, just to, like have my own like imagination time. And I noticed a lot of other people
Yeah.
around the time was they were also
Oh
kind of
man,
just
I did
really
a lot
stuck in
of
their
dance
heads.
workouts. Like I've been doing
Yeah,
dance workouts,
it was a
been trying
great
to
time for
snatch my
music.
waist, things like
Oh
that.
my God. Hell yeah. I was listening to Mac Miller yesterday. I was like, oh, turn on some self-care. Like, I'm about self-care.
Yeah.
Like I'm all
I
about
had
that self-care this week.
yeah, and I had like a hot foot soak. I do like different baths of things, but sometimes I'll just take what I normally would put in a spiritual bath and I put it in my foot soak and just let it marinate. And so yeah, I did that. I did some release work and all types of stuff, but I was fine as long as nobody called me with their problems. And then somebody called. My stepmother was in the hospital with the flu and strep, and my dad had had the flu. All three of my grandchildren, no, four of them. All four of my
No.
grandchildren have the flu. It's like, oh, I was over here in peace, and then they call me with that, and it's like, okay, breathe. They're being taken care of.
I've been having a lot of body aches, like, and I just can't shake it. Like yesterday, I was
Hmm.
so glad I was hanging onto a cart because my legs just hurt so. My back and my
Oh,
legs were just killing me, and I'm like, why? Like, there's no reason for it. But it's
that's
got to
so neat.
be
I love the
some
way that looks.
illness.
Yeah, it's cool. Nikki, what do you think's coming up this week? What do you got for us?
Well, this week is we're on the waning side of the moon, so everything's kind of the peak happened already. It's kind of like winding down a little bit. It's not really, there's not a whole lot going on other than the same things that have been going on for the past, few weeks. And, we still have oh God, Saturn. Okay, so Venus is really bringing up a lot more of these Saturn processes too, a lot, and just it's stuff I'm actually seeing out there. So a lot of people aren't very happy, with our political
Mhm.
structures. I mean, anything. I mean, you look at any of the structures that we have going on in anybody's basic life, and they're unhappy with it. There's a lot of people who just want to see some change, whether it's in their personal life or whether it's, in their big, big life,
Yeah.
whether it's in the outside world. There's some dissatisfaction, and a lot of people are feeling it. And
Hmm.
I'm
And then
seeing
the
that with
collective,
Venus moving
yeah,
closer to, well, I mean, because
yeah.
Aquarius is about, those humanitarian things, and it's a water sign. And I get so pissed off. I keep reading about how Aquarius is such a cold cold and disloving
Yeah, that's
and unloving.
so ridiculous. It's
Have
so
you ever
ridiculous.
met one? Like, have you ever met one? I got into a fight one time, you guys, with this 20-year-old girl who was an Aquarius. I gave her a fucking reading too, free one. She was a Swiftie, okay? All about Taylor Swift, all about her girlfriends, all about like that, like so social, so like full of love and gusto and piss and vinegar. My God, like
I
just
think with that,
yeah, I
I
was
think
like,
what
it was
it
hard to
is
not
is
admire this person for being so like fired up
yeah,
and so like about what they love. And it was
right.
a really interesting
Hmm.
interaction I had with
Now
this
I
person
have
long
met the
after I'd
dark
given the
side,
reading. But
the dark side of 'em, like any other sign got dark sides, and I think what it
oh,
is
it's the dark.
the dark side of it is so memorable that most people would probably never deal with another one again
Well, yeah,
if you
because I mean, when they're done with you, like you're
they
bye.
can, yeah,
That's where the cold comes from, because it's a lot like Pisces. Like, you know, as soon as the
yeah.
Pisces is done, like bye.
And if
Like
they're a
it's cold.
cusper, it's really bad. My mom is a cusper, and she's also like very like she used
So
to
she
really
takes on
so.
both. Like,
Ooh. And then my ex-husband and my brother both have the same birthday, and they're both January 28th.
so it's Capricorn, right?
Well, no, that's
Or
supposedly Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Maybe
tropical
if
Aquarius.
it's tropical, yeah, that's just made up nonsense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the made up nonsense. I even have
Yes,
like
me
little
too.
sheets I printed off from like a while ago, and I look at it, I'm like,
You're handing out flyers to people. You're like, listen, I
no,
need
it's
to
Not
talk
even,
to you
yeah,
and I
right?
about
I
think
know
sidereal astrology.
that's
yeah, they
literally
want
what
to
I tell
confuse
people.
people. They want to confuse people. The thing is when you run into gifted people, like they can try to confuse you, but it does not have to make sense to resonate with us, and that's what they don't understand. Like
But
it
I
does
see what's
because
happening in people's
we
lives
know,
compared to the transits. You know, we've got all of these big players. I was telling Fryer, we've got all of these big players doing
Hmm.
like some kind of holy trinity thing. We've got Pluto trine Neptune, which is, you know, on and off. But then Neptune's trining Uranus, and then Uranus is no, it's sextiling. Sorry, sextiling, not trining. They're all having sex, you guys.
They're having some
Fucking
sextiles.
no. So what they're doing is they're creating like it's just creative energy, and that was also like, I don't know. I got confused actually for a second there.
Ooh.
Trying sextiles. I looked at it so much. But no, you have those three, you know, outer planets, um, you know, creating and making all of these contacts, you know, of Mars and helping, you know, spin along these internal processes. A lot of people are finding they're not happy with what they have going on, or is the dream real? Can we, you know, start something new already? I mean, there's a lot of different things going on for a lot of different people. And for some, I've
Hmm.
seen it just kick off absolute rage fests where they just are so like emotional and upset. I mean, just the past few
Well,
days.
some of these people also have like disorders and things like that, and this and
Yeah. Well, with the sun moving closer too in opposition, I mean, with Mars, I mean, it's illuminating a lot of these things. I mean, it's
that's what I
integrating
mean.
and
Hmm.
illuminating all of it. So
It's like
it
I want to
makes,
walk around with silver bullets and mistletoe.
yeah. Oh my God.
It's like, let me see,
Sage.
because they coming, they're coming.
Get a sage machine, like sage machine gun.
Mhm. Something.
Yeah, I mean, so it's been an ongoing process. We've had a lot of, I've seen a lot of it. I'm
That
experiencing it
explains a
myself.
lot, though. That clears a
Yeah,
lot up.
yeah. Well, we have a lot going on starting next week. But when the sun moves into Capricorn, we have the inauguration. We have, you know, the United States is changing their administration. So I mean, it brings up a lot of you know, political stuff. It brings up a lot of social change, And a lot of people are unhappy, and a lot of us, I mean, myself included, want to see a lot less government. I don't want to see more of the same people who put us in this place trying to get us out of it. It's like, oh, hey, I caused you all these problems, but I'm the only one who can save you from it. Like, little sus to me. And everyone's caught on. So
they don't ever, they create problems and then they try to look like the hero.
Yeah, and then they're the savior coming in to save you. You're the one who did this. Who said this, and now you're oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I think next week we're going to see a little bit more movement in the stars. We'll see a lot more things switching signs, or planets switching signs, like Venus will move. Saturn's still going to be in the same spot. I think in the next, I think by the end of the month, Jupiter might come out of retrograde. Is that right? No, somebody comes out of retrograde.
I know I have all the way till March for Mars to.
Yeah, Mars is, he's really, oh my God, I don't ever remember him taking this long of a retrograde trip, but I
think he did it just for me.
Sometimes I'm not paying attention. I know, for me, I'm like, come on, Jupiter, I need you to move.
It's like with my placements, I'm sitting over here like, whoa, because it's good, but it's like getting used to the good. Like, once you come out of a lot of trauma, it's almost weird. You have to reset your mind and all your paradigms. Like, you have to reset everything to not having to be in fight or flight all the time.
Well, I'm almost wondering how this is affecting you. And we have Neptune, making some kind of contact with the North Node. It's not exact. It's not conjunct exactly. With the North Node of the Moon is just a, it's a touchy point. Yeah, it's been real. Like, do you feel like it's been showing you more of your life path, that you've been seeing a lot more of what it is
y'all, I'm
that's
sitting
happening?
Here look at my dress. I've been over here like, okay, I try to get away from it, and it's like everywhere.
There's no escaping Neptune.
And it's like I'll be trying to have like a regular day and just watch a movie like a normal person, and then here comes all the messages out of the movie, and just it's like, okay, y'all gonna make sure that I'm here to help somebody heal.
Yeah. I know.
But it's making it easier now, because now instead of me having to feel like I gotta like try to pump and prime people, I don't beg people anymore to heal. Like, what I do is I try to be what I talk about. You know what I mean? In front of them. And on top of that, I feel like some of these people need help, but they don't want it. And they like the attention, and they like the constant, reassurance, and they like the way it feels for somebody who's a nurturer to be around. They don't have any intentions on using it to help better the situation, though. So after I do that part of it, then like I call it like the dark side comes out, like not in a mean way, but if you come back with the same issue, and I do this to myself, if I come back with the same issue over and over, and I haven't done what I need to do to get that issue in alignment, then I'm not gonna be nice to myself and say, "Oh, it's okay." Not gonna be nice, because nice borders on fake and inauthentic. I like being fair, and I'm considerate, but being nice now is, after this, they're like, okay, stop being too nice. Stop being too nice.
I have a demon lady that just
like you're over here trying to manifest, like trying to bring more authentic people in, and yet you're being fake by being nice to this asshole. Stop it.
Yeah. Oh, I stopped doing that. I even at work, like it's funny because my boss is like, you shouldn't say that. I'm like, oh, they're fine. It's okay.
Oh, baby, I sent my
I'm not going to be nice to every single
person. I sent the director of our organization a long text, because I'm the house spiritualist there. And this person has been constantly out of order for the last 2 years. And I feel like I was the last warning to come through there, because she's had several other spiritualists that work together. And it's like, this woman is one of those type of people that don't want to do the work, but they like having other people around them that are into this type of thing so she can feel good all the time. And this work is not about feeling good all the time. We're feeling like something ripping us to shreds a lot of times. And so like I don't have time for it. So I sent her a long text about the fact that I was almost like my body was shutting down being there, and I just couldn't do it. I told her, I said, now moving forward, our conversations are going to be different. If you got trouble drinking, you need to go get help, because it's low vibrational to be doing this all the time. And then you over here, supposedly you have an outreach to help AIDS and HIV patients, and you're over here being low vibrational when these sick people come in here. Why? And why you got me here? Because I can see through you. If you want to do it in,
how did that go over?
I told her. I'm very upfront. Like, I have not been nice because I guess because of this, and she was like shocked when I told her. But yeah, I did tell her, like, and of course they're gonna phase my job out now. Fine with me. I don't care. So this placement or wherever these planets are doing right now, like, I grew some balls.
Oh my God, call it like you see it, because I mean you only have one life.
Hard. She couldn't even argue with it because she knew I was right, and she knew what she knew. Like, I stopped letting her think that she would, they think that we're gullible because we really want to help. So they think, oh, this person got to be stupid because they actually love people, and
story of my life.
They'll do anything for me, including die for me because I'm that awesome. Hell no.
Well, that's a good place to that's a good place to probably wrap things up.
I screenshotted the text that I sent her, and then I told Jerry about the conversation, and then I sent him the text, and he was like, whoa.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be a little rough with people. Some tough love.
Yeah, I was brutal.
Tough love is what it's called. Yes.
Latonya, what's your YouTube channel?
It's Healing Virtues. Yeah. You'll see me chime in sometimes on your like, I'll be down in the comments and you'll see Healing Virtues down there. That's me.
Okay. I don't have it. If someone because I tried to find it and I couldn't. I'm sure it's there. I just, when I searched, it didn't work out so well.
I'll send you like an email with
because I want to put it in the video description. I didn't have it, so I didn't
oh boy, now I'm gonna tell y'all, look, if you go over there, it's not a lot of, like, I don't know how to edit. I haven't really tried to figure out how to do all the little technical stuff. I just get on there and tell the messages. But honestly, some of the language is bad, y'all.
Oh,
it's okay.
Yeah. Keeping it real is what we call it. Keeping it real.
I don't like reading cards. Sometimes I go there and just talk to people or whatever. But like, I do read cards. I don't like reading them on there, but I do. So just warning. I don't post often, but I am on there.
Okay. Well, everybody go to her channel, check it out, subscribe.
What's it called again?
Healing Virtues.
Okay. Healing Virtues on YouTube. Yes. I will put it in the video description. And just so everybody knows, Friar Pezzle was on Pixie Dust and Spirit Alchemy's. They recorded a stream, and it's premiering right now. So when you guys leave this, you guys definitely want to go over there. What's her channel called? Is it just Pixie Dust and? It's
Pixie Dust and Spirit Alchemy. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So let's all go over there and check that out. Mermaids Wear Hats. Thank you so much for the. Is that a super chat or a sticker?
I think it is.
Is that our first one? No. Well, Lorna sent one on the regular video replay, but I think that's the first one we ever got in a live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot it for posterity, because that's
winning.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to say I am so happy and excited about what you all are doing, because I feel like it's going to offer like people like us a platform and help get our names like to the people that need to know our names versus the ones that just want to know.
Yes, they're to the right.
Like,
people.
In that way, it helps to fund like us being able to be who we are without having to be in these outside jobs too.
Yes. So definitely, you guys check out Latonya's work, Nikki's, Friars, and you guys know where my website is, SumerianAstrology.com. But when you support people like us, we can focus on actually helping the people that we came here to help. So that's always a positive. Well, Latonya, was great to have you. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for
God, thank you.
Yeah, jumped on with us today, and we're going to be back next week, same time, same place. And
That's right.
yeah,
Thank
so
you.
Thank
we'll-
you
Y'all
so
have a good day.
much.